we get going and we'll start. So I want to welcome everybody to the Michigan District of Kiwanis' Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Kiwanis Let's Talk session. We've realized that this is our 7th week that we've been doing this program as a way to educate our Kiwanis members here in Michigan. And since then, this program has really grown to other districts around the world have been joining us, and other Kiwanis members, as well as people from other areas of the world in general. I should say just non-Kiwanis members. So I want to give you a brief overview of what we're going to do tonight. Everyone who is an attendee at tonight's program will be muted. We will not see your face or hear from you. At this point, we have questions lined up to go for our candidates this evening, and we will follow through those. If you have questions, if you would put them in the question and answer section on the webinar for Zoom. If you have questions and you're following us on Facebook, if you would just put those questions in the Facebook, we will be passing along all those questions afterwards to all of our candidates. So to get us started this evening, I want to introduce Larry Member, who is with us. Larry is the immediate past governor of the Michigan District, and he is going to help us time this evening so that we can keep everyone on a on our time schedule, I guess. That's the way we want to put it. All candidates were invited this evening. Unfortunately, Ernest Schmidt was unable to be with us this evening due to a prior commitment. He, as well as other candidates who were not able to join us when the trustees for next week, were given the opportunity to do a video and answer those questions separately, and we will make sure that if that is conducive to him, we will do that. So for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Sue Petterson. I'm a member of the Kiwanis district here in Michigan, a member of 2 Kiwanis clubs, working one as a coach for the Grand Ledge Area Club and my home club of East Lansing. I served as Kiwanis International President in 2015-2016, so I know how these gentlemen feel right now as they're sitting there. However, we answered questions live in front of an audience. They have it answering questions live on TV where everyone else is. So we will let them go through that. So I'm going to share a screen with you just to give you a little bit of update on our program for this evening. And we are not going to share a screen. So, all right. So, International Council. So, as a result of the Kiwanis International Convention being canceled this year due to the coronavirus pandemic, the International Council will meet before October 1 and elect the Kiwanis International Vice President and the trustees as provided for in the Kiwanis International bylaws. The International Council is composed of the Kiwanis International Board of Trustees, the past Kiwanis International presidents, the 2019-2020 district governors, the chair of the Kiwanis International European Federation, and the chair of the Kiwanis ASPAC, Asia Pacific or ASPAC. So our format this evening will be as follows. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to make an introduction, and then we will answer questions that have been provided to us from the members. I want you to know that we had many, many questions submitted, so we picked 7 for this evening, and the rest we will make available to the candidates to do, they can answer them or move forward with that. We ask our candidates to answer their questions in a 2-minute time frame to keep us going this evening, and each candidate will get to answer the question with each candidate also having the opportunity to answer one question first, so they're not following up with someone else. And at the end, we will provide a 1-minute closing. So with that, I would like to start our introductions this evening with Chuck.
Thank you, Sue. Good day, fellow Kiwanians. My name is Chuck Gulitza, and along with my wife, Amelia, we hope that you are staying well, safe, and positive during these uncertain times and uncharted waters. You will often hear me speak of family because that's what we are. Individuals from all walks of life with virtues and imperfections that are bound together by a common purpose to provide altruistic service wherever and whenever it is needed. In other words, one united family that loves to serve by serving with love. Thousands of hours of service and thousands of miles later, it all boils down to one thing. Service to others is a necessary part of our lives. It is never about the time and resources invested, but rather the smiles and memories made and lives served. Mother Teresa said it best. A life not lived for others is not a life. We live our beliefs every day, always lead by example, and we are not afraid to get our hands dirty, and we will continue to do so. We believe in service, service to those in need, service to children and young adults in our SLP programs. We choose to make this contribution through Kiwanis every single day. This, in our humble opinion, is the essence of being a Kiwanian. Thank you for allowing us to be here, and we look forward to a great evening. Thank you.
Yeah, right. No.
Thank you, Chuck.
Did you say go?
Yes, you may go, Dick. I'm sorry.
All right, well, good afternoon from California. Thank you, past President Sue, the Michigan District, and all the attendees for giving of your time, not only for this webinar this afternoon, but for everything you're doing in your community. I am Richard Olmsted, a candidate for Kiwanis International Vice President. My primary club is Palmdale West of the California, Nevada, Hawaii District. I am a second generation Kiwanian. My father sponsored me into the Cheyenne, Wyoming Club on May 28, 1980. So I'm celebrating 40 years of service this month. My experience includes having served in every office of Kiwanis up to and including my current position of Kiwanis International Trustee. Elected to the board in 2017, this is my third year as a trustee, and I look forward to serving you for 4 more years. Cheryl and I have 3 adult children and 7 grandchildren. They live across the US in Texas, Florida, and Vermont. I look forward to responding to your questions this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Bert?
Good day, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining today. It's a pleasure to be able to do this with the Michigan District. I'm proud of Michigan for coming up with inventive ways to help us all stay connected and to be part of a vital organization that we are. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Bert West. I'm a 3rd generation Kiwanian with more than 31 years of membership. I know I joined when I was about 12. So, and my wife and Sandy and I have 35 years. Have 2 adult children, Megan and Lauren, who are both in Kiwanis as well. And of course, we always have the wonder dog Ace hanging out with us everywhere we go. I'm just honored to be able to even run for an office like this, and the privilege it is to be at this level of Kiwanis and to be able to serve and to be able to help and to be a part of the legacy of what we are and who we will be. So thank you. Enjoy the evening. I know it'll be fun. It'll be informative. And thanks again to the Michigan District for allowing us to do this. And thanks again for taking your time to be part of this.
Thank you, Bert. Terry?
Okay, thank you, President Sue, and thank you, the Michigan District, for putting this together. I think it's very creative and very important, especially in light of the fact that our convention has been, of course, kiboshed for this year, and we have an opportunity to at least talk and reach out to those of you who would have otherwise heard us or talked to us and had a chance to visit with us at the convention. I recently finished my term as international trustee, where I was the chairman of the Audit and Finance Committee. And I served as board counselor to 8 districts plus Key Club International, and I've had 42 years of Kiwanis. And in that period of time, I've helped create and rebuild dozens of clubs and hundreds of members. I was honored to serve as your international elections chair last year in Orlando. I worked at Eye of the Tiger, was the Eliminate District Coordinator, and I think I've got a varied and wide experience that would qualify me to be your vice president and eventually your president. I've shared with many of you before that one of the main reasons I became a Kiwanian was because when I was a Boy Scout in Oakland City, Indiana, and I'm from Southern Indiana, my club is Evansville Green River and also Newburgh, historic Newburgh, that Kiwanis Club in that little town helped me send me to the Boy Scout National Jamboree when I was fatherless and penniless and an impressionable teenager, and I'll never forget that. And I've carried that with me all along. And so I look forward to talking to you about this particular night, and I can't wait for your questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Terry. We will now move to our first question, which will be addressed to Chuck. And I'll repeat the question since we are unable to share our screen with you, and I will also talk slower. Fresh on our minds is the coronavirus pandemic. While many clubs are meeting virtually, many clubs are not. What can Kiwanis clubs do during this time to preserve Kiwanis programs while maintaining and growing our membership?
Thank you, Sue. Well, one of the things that the Kiwanis International Board has done, and many districts that I have talked to have also done, is we have waived the new member ad fee for all new members coming in. Now, some clubs, of course, may be charging very minimal, quote unquote, dues for any new members, but the Kiwanis International new ad fee and the district new ad fee are being waived in a lot of districts. So that certainly is a way for us to bring in members that may have been on the cuff of coming into the organization, letting them learn what Kiwanis is all about. But we certainly should be getting our districts, our divisions, and our clubs involved. And if they're not on Zoom, they certainly should be, because that is certainly one of the positives I have found from the COVID is the fact that we can meet people around the world. There was one day last week, I was on 7 different meetings for Kiwanis all around the world because of Zoom or GoToMeeting or any other platform that we may be on. So I would say to anybody, if your club is not meeting, please let me know. Please let your governor know. Please let any of the trustees know, and we can help you get to that point. Thank you, Sue.
Sue, you're muted.
Do you need me to repeat the question? Sorry.
Please, yeah, just briefly.
Okay. Fresh on our minds is the coronavirus pandemic. While many clubs are meeting virtually, many are not. What can Kiwanis clubs do during this time to preserve Kiwanis programs while maintaining and growing our membership?
Thank you very much. You know, everything that Chuck said is obviously very, very correct. I also have been out on those Zoom meetings. And if you know of clubs that aren't meeting, I think you need to reach out to them. Give them a phone call. Some of them are maybe very apprehensive to try Zoom. I know in my own club, I had a gentleman that was trying. He's the oldest member of our club. We actually have him on his smartphone. But I spent a couple hours on the phone with his wife trying to get him up on Zoom. And after those 2 hours, it finally dawned on me that he didn't have a monitor that he'd upgraded in 15 years, and he didn't have a camera. So, you know, finding those issues and helping people and getting in touch with them, calling them, talking to them, and encouraging them to join your Zoom meetings, I think is the best way to do that. And we'll keep our programs alive for the future.
Thank you, Dick. Bert?
Got to remember to unmute myself. Thank you, Sue. You don't need to repeat the question, but communication and connection is always the key in Kiwanis. We always have to communicate, whether we're in a pandemic or not. The key is always to be in touch with our members and make sure they know that we miss them or that we look forward to working with them again, and hopefully they'll come back. Zoom platform has been wonderful. I've been on some club meetings where it's very organized, and I've been on a few that were the greatest entertainment I've been seen in my life. I mean, last night I happened to be on one, and I was the only guy listening to about 20 women having a Zoom Kiwanis meeting. It was the most fun I've had in a long time listening to them. They were having a great time. And that's what Kiwanis can do. We can always have fun, and we can always stay connected, and we can always have a program that we can reach out and we can do things today. Our club just sponsored a brand new club through Zoom. And we reached out to all the past club members that have been in our club, but were no longer in Kiwanis. And we recruited them to join a brand new club that is now a Zoom club. And so there's a lot of things we can be as long as we're inventive and we're creative and we stay focused on the task. And the task is serving the children. So thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Bert. Terry?
I don't think I need you to repeat it. If I understand correctly, we're trying to find out how to reach out to others.
Yes.
I hear somebody.
Go ahead, we'll take care of that.
To include them in our family, and that's what we are. We are, in fact, family. And so, for example, today, one of our most respected past governors who's in our club has now got cancer, and we organized, honestly, about 50 cars that took a parade route by his house and waved at him, and because he's sort of homebound at this point in time. That's something we did together as a group. We were all there. We all made sure we social distanced. We all made sure we had our mask and on, but we did everything safely. And it was something we did together, and that was a cohesiveness that made our family work. Now, we've done, gosh, I've done about 2 or 3 dozen Zooms right now, and they're fun. So I would work at the division level. Our division lieutenant governor has made a great to do about having Zoom meetings, and I would be working with my lieutenant governors to encourage our presidents as well to make sure that they reach out, that they have meetings, that they have programs and speakers, and that we try to make at least some normalcy with what we've got, knowing that we've still got a long way to go. That's all.
Thank you, Terry. Dick, you will start this round of questions. And the question is, what have you personally done for club strengthening and building over the past 4 years?
Well, thank you. Personally, I have been in the field and helped build clubs in Norton, Kansas, which is out in the middle of nowhere, a town of 1,500. That was a year ago, and that club is still going strong. Just a couple months ago, I was in Tularosa, New Mexico, and helped open a club in that town of, I think it's about 3,000 people, and that club is going very strong. I'm a big believer in we have to have a balanced approach to our clubs. New clubs are important, but strengthening is also important. And I'll tell you, it's past the last 4 years, but when I was governor in 2011-12, before Kiwanis International even had coaches, I trained coaches in the California, Nevada, Hawaii district, and we went out and we helped clubs. Now, you can't help a club that doesn't want help. So you have to be careful about that as you approach them. But I am active. I do go to the field. I do help the clubs here in California or anywhere where they want me to come. I've told everybody that I've counseled, I'll be there. I don't walk away. I went back to Tularosa. I went back to Norton for their charter parties even. So I think I've been very active in that role. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Bert?
Well, this is probably the most fun question we're going to have all night, because that's the best part about being in Kiwanis is being out recruiting members and inviting people to join the organization that we love so much. I personally have been on many blitzes. My first blitz that I got to go on was with a man sitting in the corner. If he was a Brady Bunch, I think he would be Jan up there in the corner up there, Larry Memmer, and learned a lot that day, working with that blitz there in Michigan. And then being on one in Chicago, being on one in Denver, Las Vegas, and many of the other blitzes. But more importantly, just recruiting members to our own club and constantly asking somebody to join. Like I said, just last week, we organized a brand new club with 28 new members here in the Rocky Mountain District, sponsored by our home club and in our division. And we were able to recruit 15 members that once was in Kiwanis, but were no longer part of Kiwanis, but they wanted to be active, but they couldn't come to a meeting or they had moved away. And so we were able to bring them back into Kiwanis, and we were able to build a club during this time. And so asking people to join Kiwanis, whether it's on a blitz or whether it's one-on-one, that's the best part of our day when we're Kiwanians. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. And personally, the blitzes and the one-on-one membership drives in our district have been a great experience, and I hope to do one again real soon. So thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Bert. Terry?
Well, thanks for asking that question. Bringing new members in is probably the most fun thing we could ever do at this point in time, because you really got to have that passion down in your belly to make sure that they are sure that this is what an organization they want to join. So I've been involved not only in Denver and Chicago and Las Vegas and Florida, but there's a number in Indianapolis. There's a number of other places that I've gone. But I will say this, 88% of the members that we generally bring in on a regular basis are new members that consistently come from existing clubs. And what I found more probably challenging, but also rewarding is the fact that we've done, especially down here in Evansville, Indiana, it utilized our new club building methodologies for existing clubs. And so basically we take the same group of people from Green River, Kiwanis. We went out to the west side and we said, look, if you match us, we'll go knocking on doors and we'll talk about Indiana Kiwanis and Kiwanis International, and you can talk about why it's great to join your club. And we took a club that had about 15 members in it at the time that was really struggling and turned them into, I think we got about 12 new members. That's probably the most rewarding thing I could think we've done, but I have participated on a regular basis and I continue to do so.
Thank you, Terry. Chuck.
Yes, can you just repeat that question for me?
I sure can. What have you personally done for club strengthening and building over the past 4 years?
Thank you, Sue. And that is a great question. And as a sitting chair of the membership committee of Kiwanis International, it's something very important that we all need to consider new clubs, strengthening clubs, as well as retention. Let me start on the back end with retention. I believe that retention is simply getting people involved. There's a past Florida governor, Dr. Will Bleckman, who gave me a story one time that 2 weeks or 3 weeks into his membership, he was going to leave the club because they didn't put him to work. He was going to leave. Just imagine if Dr. Will Bleckman, YCPO, out the door if he left the organization because we didn't get him involved. But as far as membership, not only have I helped open clubs in the United States and North America, but also in Latin America. In my year as counselor to Latin America, we opened 26 clubs throughout Latin America. I was involved in Colombia in 15 of those and made 29 trips between my wife and I to Colombia to open those clubs. One of those clubs was done with this, a phone through WhatsApp. So you don't always need to see people face to face. You can contact them, you can message them, you can video conference them to get them involved. Overall, in those 4 years, I've probably been involved in about 30 to 40, probably about 35 to 40 new club openings, but I also been involved in probably about 30 strengthenings. And I don't keep track of members I bring in. I probably should, I've been told I should, but I don't do that because I don't bring them into the organization because I want to keep a track or a record. I bring them in because of the passion I feel, the passion that my wife and I feel for this organization and for the kids and for everything we do. So yes, membership is extremely important. And we certainly need to continue to do so for the benefit of this organization. So we're still around 50, 100 years from now. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Question number 3. And for those of you that are, for those of you on Facebook, we have become live again. We quickly went offline. So question number 3 will be started with Bert. The Kiwanis Asia Pacific, or known as ASPAC, is a prolific region in terms of membership growth and new club openings. What programs might you introduce to the board in order to sustain and improve the ASPAC effort?
Well, ASPAC is probably, well, not probably, it is the best growing version of Kiwanis right now. Taiwan district and the Philippines, Malaysia, all those districts are just growing leaps and bounds and doing great things. And it's awesome. You know, just a few months ago, I had the privilege of watching the Nepal district get their banner and to be, it was a great experience because it's something none of us really have ever done in our lifetime, to see a district actually form. So what we have to do with ASPAC is we have to give them the resources and we have to get the assets over there to that region to help them grow and to continue to grow, whatever it takes, because that's where members of Kiwanis in the ASPAC region have a passion unlike any other place in the world. And if we can continue to give them assets and resources that they need to continue to grow through training, through knocking on doors, through whatever it is that they need, we need to focus on that as an organization because that is our biggest growth area in the world at this time. So the program that I would give them is whatever they need, and they know better than we do what they need. And that's what we have to work on. So thank you.
Thank you, Bert. Terry.
Okay. Well, I got a chance to go with Bert over to Nepal as well. And it was just an absolute pleasure to see the passion I see out of those folks. they've had a great opportunity and that they've taken advantage of. But Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan, all these groups, the 23 countries that are in the ASPAC organization have just stepped up to the plate. Now, why is that? Well, maybe we're a little bit new, but I think it's because every one of those people are proud to be Kiwanis. Here's how we help. One thing is actually a family plan that we could use. The Lions Club started their family plan back in 2006 and raised about 200, from what I read, about 200,000 new members, 204,336 family members have joined, and almost all of them came out of, at least 100,000 of them, excuse me, came out of Asia Pacific. So I think we spend more time, we spend more money, we spend staff, we spend volunteering with them to continue to generate more and new clubs and to create bigger clubs that already exist. That's the other leg. Make it, as well as making it relevant for the members once they're there.
Thank you,
That's it.
Jerry. Chuck?
Thank you, Sue. One of the first things I'm as Bert mentioned also, is they are the fastest growing and the growth portion of our organization, bar none. One thing I certainly would do, though, is make sure that our organization, we give $80,000 a year in grants to the ASPAC district related to education, membership, et cetera, et cetera. I would make sure that that 80,000 is at least maintained, if not increased, if the budget permits it. Of course, we need to train folks to do new club opening as well as club counselors. Because once you open a club, you need to make sure that club is sustained with those club counselors and make sure that they're in there keeping that club strong. Because the more members we get, the more service we're going to do. And it is a cycle. The more service we do, the more members we get, and the more members we get, the more service. One of the areas in ASPAC that seems to be missed, though, by our organization is India. We have 148 members in India right now. How many people live in India? We really need to have a focus, I believe, in India and make our footprint just as Lions and Rotary has done. And we need to get folks who understand the culture, understand the methods of the country to go in with us to increase the organization, which again is part of the ASPAC region, to grow that region. So again, I think we need to keep what we're currently giving, but we need to keep doing more to make that area more vibrant and growing, and the passion just continues. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Dick?
Thank you, Sue. Chuck spoke before me, and we're both on that membership committee. And so he mentioned 2 points that I wanted to, and I'll just put a little more on them. The $80,000 that we budget for the Asia Pacific has to stay. And it may be time that we open an office in the Asia Pacific like we do in Europe. Would that reduce some of our expenses? I don't know, but it wouldn't hurt, and it would certainly show that we care about that region. India, I have given a contact to President-elect Art. I've met this gentleman. He's actually a member in the Southwest District. He's got the connections we need in India. He's ready to do that and to let our membership explode in India. I know at the ASPAC convention, I was there with Bert and Terry. We talked, they have a member representative from India. They assigned the Nepal district to be the coordinators to have that growth. And the current governor, Sujan, has contacts in India. That could be a huge growth. So I think India and an office would be 2 things we ought to really look at.
Thank you. Okay, question number 4. We'll start with Terry. How will you support the continued use and implementation of the Kiwanis International Strategic Plan during your term as Vice President? How does your personal agenda align with the strategic plan?
Well, thank you. Actually, you asked that in the questionnaire to all the candidates before, and I had a good chance to think about that. The Kiwanis International Plan is well considered over the past decade, but we now are at a crossroads where Kiwanis must rebuild its base with even more determination, energy, and resolve. So I made part of my campaign slogan, taking action, making a difference, and getting results. And that should be our formula for success. Now, I think that we can tweak it, the strategic plan, in many different ways. And I'll just give you quickly what I have on my plan, because I think these are practical solutions to get real results through the plan. You build new clubs that have solid foundations and consistent auxiliary support from our existing organization, beginning from the division through the district and international levels. You help our existing clubs grow by using new club building methodologies through canvassing and recruiting new members, especially to those clubs that are below charter strength. You absorb our key clubbers and Circle Kers into our adult clubs by more aggressively tracking and recruiting our graduates through our alumni program. You keep our clubs relevant and meaningful to our members so they feel included and passionate about our mission, though, among other programs, are through a team competition system that has been very successful amongst clubs throughout the world that I've passed around in my travels as trustee. You continue to protect and enhance our SLPs by educating our leadership and begin vigilant in our protocols. You develop confident, capable, caring leaders across the Kiwanis family by inspiring those Kiwanis members to become leaders, to catch that passion that we've been talking about. You support our children's fund and fulfilling our commitment to the Eliminate Project. And you hold the dues down by providing an optional Kiwanis family membership plan and raising Kiwanis income by creating and promoting third-party affinity programs. Those are the things I think we should do.
Thank you, Terry. Chuck?
Yes, the strategic plan is actually a very important part. I think not only on the international level, and we do have a meeting once a year to talk about the strategic plan, but I think we probably should talk about a little bit more than what we do on the Kiwanis International side. Also, right down to the district and the clubs. I can tell you my own club, we have a strategic plan. We work the I plan still that was from 4 or 5 years ago, but as they say, if you fail to plan, you're going to plan to fail, right? So one of the things that we certainly need to look at is our image. Everybody should be wearing, at some point in time, either your pin, a tie, a shirt, whatever you may have when you're out and about in the community, but also our image on social media. Quite frankly, I look at some social media tags, and our hashtag is Kids Need Kiwanis. How many people actually use that? That is our Kiwanis International hashtag. How many people actually use that on their post? Not many. So we certainly need to do that. And then the investment side. We certainly need to make an investment in our community. We need to make an investment in strengthening this organization. I know we have, through different plans that we have done, the formula, et cetera, but we really need to continue to make that investment to make this organization the strongest and the best organization for kids anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Dick?
Sue, would you repeat the part about the personal agenda?
Yes. How does your personal agenda align with the strategic plan?
Thank you. The strategic plan I think is good, but as any plan is, you can't write it and leave it on the shelf. And we as a board need to ensure that every time we're making a decision, that decision is fitting somewhere in our strategic plan. We shouldn't be veering from it very far, anytime at all. And I have no personal agenda that says I'm going to change it. Certainly it can always be tweaked, and it should be reviewed every year, at least once a year. But at every board meeting, decisions ought to be made based upon that plan. The membership and engagement we've talked about, the communications we've talked about, the leadership development we definitely need in our clubs, our divisions, and even in our districts. So I will work the plan, and it will be in front of us every meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Bert?
Sue, thank you. You know, we all hope and pray that someday we'll just wake up and the current situation we're in will be over and we'll all be back to normal. But as we know, that day may be a long time away. We really don't know when that day is going to be. And as I look through all the Kiwanis handbooks and all the leadership training I've read, I have yet to see a page on how to lead in a pandemic and how to move forward as an organization. So we have a strategic plan, that is correct, and we need to use it. However, we might have to reevaluate that plan, and we might have to adjust that for what Kiwanis might look like 6 months from now or even 5 years from now. We don't know that answer, but we have to be prepared for that answer. And we have to be prepared to enact a new plan or a plan that is in conjunction with our plan. But first and foremost, regardless of how we go forward, we have to engage, we have to empower, and we have to elevate. We have to engage each and every member, from past presidents all the way down to the member that just joined yesterday. We have to empower them with the tools that they need to work our plan and to move forward. But we also have to elevate our organization. And by that, I mean, we have to let everybody know who we are, what we do, why we do it, and why they should be a part of it. And the world is a better place with Kiwanis in it. And that's the plan we have to move forward with. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Okay, we will now move on to the next question. We'll start back with Chuck. Will have the first question response to this. We know that membership is the top priority, but what would be the most important area that you would emphasize after membership?
Most important thing I would emphasize after membership is simply service. I think we need to get back to getting our hands dirty and doing more service in our communities. I find that a lot of clubs, as they get aged and get into their years, they start writing a lot of checks and they don't get their hands dirty out in the community. I joined this organization because I was brought into a service project. I wasn't brought into a meeting. I joined because I went to a VIP soccer league, which is basically handicapped children playing soccer. You probably saw on Facebook and social media, I have coloring books out for the kids. That's a simple service project that we are doing right now. And anybody can ask. Any club can send a request to us and we will send those to them as far as we can send them. Right now, we're working on getting them out internationally, and we have gotten them out to some international countries where they're producing them and we're paying for them. So we're doing that. Also, for example, we had a service project and getting computers out to kids that don't have them. They weren't in school. So service needs to be also very forefront along with membership to this organization. So it definitely is service in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Dick?
Well, since Chuck took the obvious one in service, since we are a service club, I want to give you the tertiary, and that would be a balanced approach to our service leadership programs. They are a huge part of our service because they probably do a lot more than many of our Kiwanis clubs. And so we need to have a balanced approach into sponsoring these key clubs and builders clubs and K-Kids and Circle K. And if we get out there and do that service with them, then I think they'll see that, hey, we may be okay to come join a Kiwanis club with this guy that has a white beard. My key clubbers know that I do anything for them. And they know that they're important to me, and I want them in my Kiwanis club, wherever that might be. And so service, obviously, let's go do that service with our SLPs. Let's grow this organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Bert?
Obviously, membership is priority one, and service is a big part of it. And those would be the top two. But there's also one other piece at the international level, and especially on the international board and with the leadership, that is very, very important. And that's financial stability. We don't know how many members we will have. We don't know what that membership count's going to look like, but we have to be financial stable in order for this organization to be here 30, 40 years from now. There's a lot of Kiwanians that aren't even born yet that need an opportunity to serve in the future. And if we make sure we stay financially stable, we keep our service going strong with our SLPs, and we think with inventive and creative ways as a leader, then we can continue to grow and be a vital organization. But without the service, the membership and financial stability, all three in one, then we can't move forward. So I think that would be one of the biggest things that we need to do as a leadership.
Thank you, Bert. Terry? You're muted, Terry.
Okay, how's that?
You're good.
Well, while we must continue to be diligent in raising our new members, it's also important for our organization to realize we are not just a numbers game. That's not what Kiwanis is all about. It's how we treat each other as human beings, as real people, and how we reach out to them as human beings, and how we care about each other. So the most important thing that keeps Kiwanians, I think, of course, are the projects that we do. That's, we can call that service, you can call it whatever you want to. But that's what defines us as an organization. People remember us because we are doing good things for other people, and we're helping those who really need help. And we're doing that with compassion, and we're doing that when we feed the hungry, and we clothe the poor, and we house the homeless, and we take care of those who can't take care of themselves. Bert's got a good point, though. Our financial condition is always going to be very tentative. I know the staff is now undertaking to reduce their budget by $1 million this year by reducing their salaries by about 10%. I know we have, as an organization, a $15 million budget, but 10 million of that comes from our dues, and we've got to be careful about raising our dues. We don't want to do that. So I think there's a twofold thing that's important: the projects that we keep going, and the financial strength that we have to have.
Thank you, Terry. Our next question number 6. We'll start with Dick. We've heard much about inviting millennials to join us. What about Generation X? What can we do to attract Generation Xers to our club?
Wow, that's a great question, and greater minds have pondered that for a long time. I don't want to exclude anybody. I don't like putting people in boxes and saying we have to go get them. We need everybody that has a heart for service, and it really comes down to how do we approach each of these generations. Generation X, I know, is different than Generation Y and is different than me as a baby boomer. But you know what? If we communicate and if we have open minds and we actually sit down and enjoy each other's company, we can recruit anybody to this organization because of the good that we do in our communities. And that's what we have to stress. And we have to be flexible for every group, regardless of what generation we put them in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Bert?
So I'm not sure what generation I'm in. I asked my daughters if I was a millennial, and they steadfastly told me I was not. So I'm not sure what a millennial, a Generation X, a Generation Y. All I know, I was born in 1964, and I don't think I fit in anywhere. So I think a Kiwanis member is a Kiwanis member. I love the fact that our club, my personal home club, has many members from people in their 80s all the way to people in their 20s. And so there's a great mix, and they all get along and everything, and they all work together and unite to provide service for our local community. So whatever a Generation X person wants, I have learned through the last 3 weeks or the last several months that Zoom meetings actually do work, and they actually can be a club that way. And so I think the one thing about this pandemic is we've learned a lot about ourselves, and we've learned a lot about what we can accomplish as a Kiwanis organization, as a Kiwanis group. So starting a Zoom meeting for the Generation X and having them meet in a virtual format and getting together once a month or getting together every couple months to perform a project, that's a great way for Generation X. And I keep saying that, Sue, but when I get done, before you move on, can you please describe what that is for me? So I really know what I'm talking about. But anyway, but all the younger members would love to be a part of Kiwanis. We just have to find a way that they can afford it, and they can be part of it, and they can feel that they have an impact not only in their community, but in the world.
Thank you, Bert. Terry?
Well, I was going to ask the same question, Bert. A Generation Xer, I think, is somebody definitely younger than me and definitely younger than you. But here's what sort of strikes me. I've always thinks that a good Kiwanis organization, a Kiwanis club has three elements to it: the people and the programs and the projects is what I call them. You know, we tried this 3-2-1 club organization that we thought was going to reach out to the younger folks because they were going to have less time in a meeting and more time serving. And to tell you the truth, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on this. I'm sure there are successful 3-2-1 clubs, but I don't see them in Indiana very well. And I don't know why. I think reaching out to people from Zoom, because these are young folks, Generation X, likes to use computers. I think giving them projects to work on, because that's what they're willing to do. They don't want to go to as many meetings, which I enjoy, but they don't. But they want to serve the community. And that's what I think we offer up. We offer them projects and projects and projects, and we try to include them in our organization and make them feel a part of us. And that's, I think, the best thing we could possibly do.
Thank you. Chuck?
Thank you, Sue. So for my colleagues, Generation X is anybody from 1965 to 1979. I fall right in the middle of that category. So I will tell you what brought me into Kiwanis, because I am Generation X. It is service. If it wasn't for the local attorney, John Moss, bringing me to that service project, because I went to a Rotary meeting, I went to a Stroptis meeting, I went to different organizations in my hometown to try to get involved when I first moved here. It was the first, he took me to a service project, and that's what got me to join. I don't want to go to meetings every single week at 12 o'clock. Now, I'm not saying that meetings at 12 o'clock are a bad thing, because there are a lot of clubs and a lot of large clubs that are very active. I'd rather go to a meeting at 6 o'clock at night when I get out of work, because if my employer didn't let me out, how am I going to get out to get to lunch? It's very difficult. It's not like it used to be maybe 10, 20 years ago, where employers were a little bit more lenient. So again, I think it's getting involved in service, working meetings, maybe 2 a month around the work schedules, and keeping us involved, keeping us working is what keeps the Generation X very active in this Kiwanis organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Bert, we'll start with you for the next question. And I've honestly lost count on what question number we are on, but I know it's Bert. So knowing that we are the members of Kiwanis International, this is a three-part question. What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? And what should we continue doing? Knowing that we are the members of Kiwanis International, those of us who pay dues, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? And what should we continue doing?
I think this is question number 9, Sue.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Wow, that's a tough one. One of the things we got to start doing is we got to start thinking outside the box. We have to be inventive. We have to be creative. We have to come up with fresh incentives where we can find ways to serve and continue to grow. We have to take advantage, like I said earlier, of what we're learning through this time and use it to our abilities and use it for our growth, use it for service, use it for meetings. There's a lot of things that we can do that we're learning right now that we need to start doing and probably work on for a long time. What we have to stop doing is stop clubs from not performing service and not being an active part of their community. We have to motivate them. We have to get out to them. We have to talk to them. We have to make sure that they are active in their communities, because a club that's not active will soon die on the vine. And so we have to make sure that that stops and that we can promote them and help them in their own communities and help them provide the service and provide the leadership and provide what is that way makes them a Kiwanis club. What we have to continue doing is continue to build on our legacy. A lot of people have come before us and they built a legacy of service that this organization is founded on. And we have to continue to do that legacy. We are the legacy of those before us, but we have to continue service so the legacy of those that come after us 20, 30 years from now can say thank you for providing a service organization for me to be a part of. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. Terry?
Oh, I guess I forgot to mute. Never mind. Here's things I would think we should address. The one thing that we got to start doing is actually working on our existing clubs. I think we do not provide the leadership and the methodologies to canvas and recruit new members with existing clubs that we need to do. And we've got to encourage those existing clubs to grow. You know, back in the 50s, we have as many people that we do now in terms of Kiwanis International. But we had a lot less clubs. We had bigger clubs that grew. And people enjoyed, I guess, the amenities of a bigger club. And so my first thought is we've got to spend a lot more time getting our existing clubs up to snuff and promoting them and supporting them. The one thing we got to stop doing is not providing the auxiliary support from our already existing organization to those new clubs that we've been creating, especially the ones that we've created over the last couple of years. I don't know how many clubs I've seen that we have created over the last year or so, the last couple of years, and we haven't supported them like we're supposed to. Out of the 411 clubs that we created in 17 and 18, today, as of today, 205 of those clubs have either closed or have been given charter suspension notices because they haven't paid their dues. Now, to be fair about it, most of them are people that I think 163 of them were charter suspension notices. So we really only had 42 clubs that have actually closed. But that doesn't bode well for what we've been doing, and I think we've got to stop not providing that support. We've got to shore them up. What do we got to continue doing? Oh, our projects. Our projects is what I said define us. That's what gets people to notice us. That's what that's why they get the feel good about it. That's what makes Kiwanians Kiwanians. That's what we're all about.
Thank you, Terry. Chuck?
Thank you, Sue. And if you could repeat that question, I would
Yes.
appreciate it.
Knowing that we are the members of Kiwanis International, three things. What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? And what should we continue doing?
Okay, so going in that order, start doing, if you're not having fun, start having fun in your clubs. And remember, fundraising. The first three letters of fundraising is F-U-N, fun. We need to have fun in everything we do and make this a family. We need to make this a family that we truly believe in, that I can go to you, I can ask you for something, and I know, if somebody comes to me and asks me for something, they're going to get it most likely. Stop, I would say, complaining, arguing amongst ourselves. I used this expression one time in a meeting. We need to remember that we're working for the kids. Let's stop being the kids. We need to stop being the kids and just focus on our focus, which is the kids. Finally, continue to open new clubs. Continue to strengthen existing clubs is very important. Getting those club counselors into those existing clubs and new clubs is so important. Base the club on 15 and then add one or two more to be the counselor. So now you're starting a club at 17 versus 15. And those counselors need to make sure that they're not directing that club in the same direction as their club may be. They need to make sure that they're letting that club be the club who they are. Plain and simple, let's stop talking about Kiwanis and let's just start doing Kiwanis. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Dick?
Yes, thank you, Sue. We need to start selling Kiwanis. Personal responsibility to sell Kiwanis. We all have that duty as a member, and we need to do that. Too many of us sit back and say, let someone else do it. But I think it's a personal responsibility for each one of us. I can't come to your community very successfully and go find a member for you because I don't know you. You know you. You need to go sell you. We lose 30% of our clubs within the first 5 years. We need to start helping them. We lose 50% of our new members in those clubs in the first 5 years. We need to keep retaining them. What do we stop doing? We stop saying, I can't do that. We stopped saying we're dying. Nobody wants to join a desperate organization. In 2011, my club was 23, and we said we're not desperate. We're not going to do desperation marketing. Today, we're at 45. Good, steady growth over those years. And what do we continue doing? Stressing the service to the children of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have reached the end of our questions. And at this point, we will ask each one of you to, we'll actually take 30 seconds here or so to allow you time to come together and come up with your closing statements. We have, and while you're doing that, we have had a couple challenges staying live on Facebook tonight, but I want to assure everybody that we will have this recording and put it live on the Michigan District of Kiwanis website, and I will also put it on my personal website or my Facebook page so that we can make those available to you for those of you that had the blips in and out. I think it may be the wind here and the rain that's now arriving. So, okay, final comments. Chuck.
Thank you, Sue. I just want to take this time to thank you, Larry, and the entire Michigan District for holding this event. And in fact, you've held this event for the past 7 weeks. I think I've been on 5 of them. Thank you to all the Kiwanians who took time out of their schedule tonight for attending. Amelia and I are here to roll up our sleeves and to get to work because we believe we can make a positive difference in this organization at the highest level and help secure its future for many generations to come. In our combined over 30 years of service, our focus on service, on membership, and knowing that the member is our primary focus will never change. Our SLPs are so important. Remember to reach out to them. They're graduating, whether they're going from 10th grade to 11th, whether they're going from 1st grade to 2nd. Reach out to our SLPs right now and thank them for what they're doing and remember them and cherish them. We thank you for the gift of your time and attention. May God bless you all and bless all members of the Kiwanis family. Thank you from Amelia and I. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Dick?
Well, thank you, Sue, for coordinating tonight's webinar. And my thanks to every attendee for your time and for your thoughtful questions. My vision for the future of Kiwanis includes a balanced and sustainable membership growth. Along with that comes a district, division, and club accountability for that growth. Communicating the availability and ensuring the proper use of all the resource materials that are out on the website already. And a balanced approach to our service leadership program sponsorships. The children are very important to us, and we need to do that. Please reach out to me if you wish to discuss further any topic from tonight, or if you had a question or a topic that didn't get addressed. I would love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dick. Bert?
Sue, I think your rainstorm just hit me. So, you know, like I said, we don't have a playbook to draw from right now during this pandemic, but we have great leadership, we have strong history, and all we have to do as Kiwanians is work just as hard as the Kiwanians that worked before us. We just have to go out and ask people to join. We have to be a part of the solution. We have to focus on our membership and our financial stability. We don't know what Kiwanis is going to look like, but we do know the children of the world will need us more than ever before, and we will need each other more than ever before. And if we use that, and that's our guiding force and our guiding focus going forward, then we'll be okay. And we'll come out of this stronger and more vital. So thank you, Larry. Good night.
Thank you, Bert. Terry?
Well, thank you for putting this on, Michigan District, and Sue, for you chairing this as well. You know, there's an old saying that says you should surround yourself with people who make you hungry for life and touch your heart and nourish your soul. Well, that's my experience with this family we call Kiwanis. You and I belong to a very unique tribe of individuals. I thank God that we're so blessed to live in the world where we can truly be agents of change. Together, I think our organization can march forward into the future. We have the advantage right here and now to impact the fabric of our society. And we have a chance to be one of the best affirmations of humanity. So if you want a leader that has that deep fire in his belly, passion for Kiwanis, that believes that we as Kiwanians are measured not by the size of our numbers, but by the size of our hearts and strength of our character. If you want a leader who's honest and fair-minded, creative, forward-looking, open to new ideas and innovation, who knows how to have fun and is tenacious about getting the job done, then I'm your guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. So on behalf of the Michigan District of Kiwanis and Kiwanis members everywhere, I'd like to thank the 4 of you for joining us this evening. I think for a first try and a first attempt, I think we did pretty good. We'll continue to learn and grow with this process. I encourage you to join us next Thursday, same time at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as we offer the opportunity to our trustee candidates to answer questions. I can guarantee they will not be the same questions, or all of them won't be the same. We have another group of questions that we are preparing for that. I thank you for that. I wish you all the best of luck. And if there's anything that we can do to assist Kiwanis members around the world, please feel free to reach out to us. Please feel to reach out to Kiwanis International at 1-800-Kiwanis. They are working while the rest of us are all working from home. They are as well. So thank you very much from the Michigan District of Kiwanis, and have a great evening.